We have all been there, whether it's a new baby or a late-night TV marathon. You know what it feels like to face a full day on very little sleep. Most of us try to power through, often using caffeine, but there's new research suggests that that might not be the best approach. CTV science and technology specialist Dan Riskin is joining us as he takes a giant gulp of coffee. Dan, good morning.
Good morning. I'm ready to go now.
Well, or are you? Researchers at the University of Michigan invited a bunch of people into their lab. They had them perform cognitive tests. Then they sent some of them home for a bit of sleep and told the rest they had to stay awake all night in the lab. Then the next morning, everybody gets everyone well rested and sleep deprived. Everybody gets this pill. Some received a placebo, others got 200 milligrams of caffeine. That's about 2 cups of coffee. Then they had everybody do all the tests again. So what did they find out?
Well, it's pretty interesting. It turns out coffee does help a lot, but it doesn't do everything. And there's really no replacement for sleep. And so the take home here is coffee's a great crutch, but it's not gonna get you across the finish line cognitively. Basically what they found is when people don't get any sleep at night and they take that test again in the morning, there are 2 ways in which they're not their best selves cognitively. One, it's really hard to focus. They keep getting distracted or just falling asleep. And second, it's hard to do higher level stuff like keeping track of a list and going through a list in order without repeating any steps, stuff that you have to pay attention and sort of have your brain working to do. But what they found that when people had coffee in the morning, or caffeine in the form of this pill, which was equivalent to coffee or tea or an energy drink or whatever it is, when they did that, they could focus. And in fact, they focused just as well as if they'd had a full night's sleep. But they were kind of vacant upstairs. When it came to the higher level stuff, when it came to doing those sorting tests and cognitive things about keeping things in order, they were not doing well. It was as though there was no effect of caffeine at all. They were just as bad as people who had no caffeine and pulled an all-nighter. So caffeine helps, but it doesn't do everything. Right,
which makes sense because caffeine is a stimulant, but so it can help you to focus a little bit, but it doesn't, as you say, replace sleep. So what are some of the situations when caffeine is helpful?
I think about this. People are always looking for self-hacks, like ways that they can be their best self and really find their most creative selves. Turns out sleep is one of those things. It turns out it's a great hack, is to not short yourself on sleep and try to make up for it with coffee, but to get a full night's sleep. And so if you've had coffee, you'll be able to attend that meeting. You'll be able to have that conversation. You'll be able to look that person in the eye for the whole conversation. You'll be able to read that thing that you're supposed to read for work. But those moments of inspiration, those places where you really come up with a great new idea or you're most creative, that higher level stuff really is dependent on a full night's sleep. And so you can sort of make it through the day, but you're kind of shortchanging yourself in terms of your performance.
Okay, so for people who are sleep deprived, like people who get up early to host morning shows, what can they do to counteract some of the effects? And they're shift workers as well, right? So what can they do to counteract some of the effects?
Yeah, you know what? There's lots of data showing shift workers really do have a really hard time. And that's been sort of the magic thing that everybody's been looking for, is that replacement, that drug, that drink, that nap time that's going to make up for lost sleep. And studies have shown that a 20-minute nap, not longer, but like a 20-minute nap in the afternoon can be a big help for people who are working funny hours and are just trying to make up for that sleep without throwing off their timetable. But really what comes from all of this research is that there just isn't a replacement for sleep, that you really do need to get those full hours. And so if you are getting up at 3, and my heart goes out to you, Anne-Marie, and the rest of your crew getting up that early, you just have to get to bed early. It's just, there's really no way around it. And without doing that, you just can't make it up in other ways, coffee included.
That's both good and bad news. Dan, thanks for that.
Sorry, I wish I had better news. I wish there was a simple drink, but this will just have to do paying attention, even though we're not our best selves.
Well, it tastes good, so I will take it. Thanks, Dan.
Take care.
All right.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.